Jared here with Devil's Lake Tourism. And it is the dog days of winter. Dog days of winter. This time of year, even though if you look at the forecast, it doesn't look real inviting, this time of year can actually be pretty fun for perch. We are officially now into the deep basin bite for perch. These fish are scattered, but they are in nice little schools. And they stick out pretty good on electronics. So the good part about this cold weather, we're in the dog days of winter, is what I call it, and it's deep perch season. So I'm talking that 30 to 50 feet of water chasing those deep basin perch. You look at a map of Devil's Lake, there's multiple basins to choose from. Look at kind of what your setup is, what kind of a fish house you're running, because I definitely recommend a fish house this time of year. It's not the old sit on a bucket and be nice and toasty in your jacket. You're going to want some sort of a shelter, okay? So it's very cold. And the nice part is, though, these fish do stick out in these basins really well. So drive around, punch a bunch of holes, and see if you can find them. I don't start fishing until I mark multiple fish, not one or two here or there, multiple perch, okay? And you can tell the difference once you looked at them long enough, which ones are perch, which ones are walleyes, northerns, all that. So that's kind of the beauty of live scope. You can look out a little ways, but actually a lot of times for hole hopping, I still go back to my old Vexilar. That can be some of the best, or the best way to target them is with that Vexilar, just to be super mobile if you can. Now, again, we're not going to be outside doing a whole bunch of hole hopping, doing that with this kind of weather, but it still is effective. The best way to catch them right now, once you do find them, is pretty much everyone's in agreement that this time of year, it's a single hook type jig that is working the best, a tungsten. I pretty much have a gold one tied up all year. Gold is really good, of course. But then there's also, you got the pink, you got white. Wonder Bread has become obviously very popular, and it does work on perch. Works really good. And then you do need either like a really heavy jig or something to get that jig down quickly. Because if you're not quick, when a school moves through and you're constantly waiting for it to either come down or constantly rebaiting, those schools can they can come in and they can leave just as fast as they came in. So you got to capitalize when they're down there. So load up that bait, that single hook bait that's on with some sort of a heavy weight. Like I said, I use a pencil weight. I make them myself out of small brass rods, and then just tie leaders on each end. And I run braid all year for my perch and walleyes and northerns, you name it. I'm running braid. I do run a little bit of a floral leader. You don't need to, especially when you're this deep, but the key is speed. You want to be able to unhook that fish, not worrying about baiting it up. Just load that thing up with as many spikes as you can. I like to use the spikes. That way I can put like 4, 5, 6 on there, on that hook. Drop it down, catch a fish, take it off, get right back down and keep fishing. Okay, you can take your pictures later. When the fish are biting, get back down, catch as many as you can. When the bite slows down, you start taking your photos and doing your videos and whatnot. But when they're under you, capitalize, okay? So that's been the name of the game for perch. Walleyes are walleyes. It's been good all year. Basically, if anything looks good on a map, 20 feet and less, it probably is good, okay? So if you have your summer spots you go to, there's probably walleyes on it. I've got my wheelhouse set up in 8 feet of water. I live over on 6 Mile Bay. And I'm on some rocks between some trees, and it's pretty much automatic. Every night the walleyes move in, and every night you can catch some if you want. The crazy thing about this year is, and I know everyone I've talked to agrees, this is the clearest, water I've ever seen. And many people would agree. I don't know what's going on. You can see at least 10, 15, in some areas 20 feet down. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what's going on with the system, but it is clear as a bell. And we've always preached in the past, this is not a night bite lake. It's not a night bite lake. It is a night bite lake. I have caught walleyes in my wheelhouse on rattle reels and dead lines. I've actually gotten or had a lot of luck using drop shots with minnows for my walleyes shallow. I caught them up till midnight. And the only reason I went in is because I was tired. And really, look, it seems like the later in the day it is, or like the darker it is, the better they bite. So something going on. I don't know what it is, but start earlier, stay later. That'll increase your chances for walleyes. They seem to be even more aggressive after dark, and I'm talking dark, which is not really normal for this lake. But I'm not the only one experiencing it, so I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. Northern pike have been really good this year. I've set up multiple tip-ups, and actually, this is the best northern pike year I've had in many years, which may sound bad, but I mean, the perch are biting, the walleyes are biting, and the pike are biting. Everything's biting right now. Guys are catching crappies, and on the crappie spots, guys are catching tons of white bass. So there is good fishing to be had. The weather's not great. That's why you got to prepare for it. Bring the proper gear. Bring your the correct fish house for staying mobile. I do want to say one thing. I watched a guy this weekend drive his Argo under a bridge and it sank to the bottom. Okay. Thankfully, the two guys that were in it got out. I was able to drive over there, give them a ride back to their cabin, and they were able to deal with it from there. But this is just a reminder, no matter how thick the ice is, which it's 30 inches under my feet right now, under a bridge is basically 0 inches, okay? When there's a skim of snow on it, over top, it doesn't look any different than the rest of the ice around. Stay away from the bridges, okay? We don't want to be fishing your stuff or your buddies out of the lake. Little disclaimer, because I watched it happen 2 days ago. Otherwise, this is going to be an amazing weekend. We've got Shiverfest going on in the Devil's Lake region. Outside of Woodland Resort, they've got all kinds of activities, but also in town. There's all kinds of stuff to do, whether that's the 5K run, whether it's a fishing tournament. It's just a fun time to be in Devil's Lake. Embrace the cold, right? We live here. It can get cold. It's winter. Deal with it, and we have fun dealing with it. Lots of ways to do it. Mobility on the lake, just want to end there, it's really good. So pretty much you can drive a pickup or Suburban everywhere you want to go. As long as it has four-wheel drive, you're going to be fine in most areas. The accesses have been great this year on all the public stuff. Just do not get close to a bridge. We don't want to be fishing people out of the lake. Other than that, come on up. Fishing's been good. We're in that deep basin bite. We got Shiverfest going on. It's a wonderful time to be in Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Check out devilslakend.com, and I hope to see you up here.